Hello everyone, I'm ImKibitz and welcome back to Satisfactory, where we're going back to the nuclear power plant to finally complete it. Because now that we're done the Star Forge, our 60 nuclear pasta per minute factory, we have all the materials we need to make Fixonium. The final nuclear fuel rod we need to let us use our power plant at its max capacity. Because in order to make a Fixonium fuel rod, you need Fixonium, which uses plutonium waste. And if we can use plutonium waste, we can use the plutonium fuel rods, the most powerful fuel in the game. Now that we have all of this pasta, we can make a quadrillion singularity cells, which is the last piece of the puzzle. And why do we need so much power? Well, making all this pasta used up a couple megawatts, more than 7. And this is only our first space elevator part. Things are gonna get a lot more intense once we start automating warp drives and other crazy stuff later. So we need the power now. Or maybe after this quick sponsored message from Raycon. New year, new gear. Raycon's released bone conduction headphones, and they're amazing. They sit outside your ears so you can listen to your podcast or jams while staying aware of what's going on around you, while still getting crystal clear audio. Audio you can listen to all day, no matter what you're doing, since they have 13 hours of battery life and IP68 waterproofing and dust proofing. Perfect for doing chores, working out, hiking, walking, or whatever your daily life looks like. Personally, I like to listen to my favorite Fix It motivational song on the highest volume, because I feel it makes me 5% more efficient. But results may vary, so you should try them out for yourself. And now's the perfect time to upgrade your audio for the new year. Go to buyraycon.com/kibitzbc for 20% off site-wide. Again, that's buyraycon.com/kibitzbc. And thank you, Raycon, for sponsoring this video. Now there is one little snag with Fixonium. Things could go very wrong. This power plant is already complicated enough, and all this Fixonium stuff is new to me. So before I run off and drown our world in plutonium waste, we are gonna finish up our control building here by adding on the emergency waste processing facility. Because what's going on here with this entire build is we are redirecting all the materials we need for this plant in case there is an accident. You cannot destroy nuclear waste. So if it builds up, you pretty much can irradiate a whole area of your map forever. So in case of emergency, we can redirect all of the pipes to an emergency facility, switch a bunch of smart splitters to redirect the waste, and then I've done a ton of belt work to make sure that we have all the materials we need for the emergency facility. And it's all just been sitting here, because I haven't built it yet. Why? Because I knew that all of this part of the plant would be fine. It's only 2,520 uranium waste per minute. Like, no biggie. Plutonium waste, though, it could be a little bit more complicated. Just to illustrate that, welcome back to our diorama world, where we laid out our plan for our nuclear power plant. So all these machines are for making the uranium fuel rods, which we are burning to get about 1,000,000 megawatts of power. With the uranium fuel rods, they make waste, so we set up this plutonium fuel rod production. But then with the plutonium fuel rods, we're sending them to an awesome sink because we couldn't get rid of the plutonium waste just yet. But we can now, since we're done with pasta. But the process is involved. All of these machines are needed in order to make Fixonium fuel rods. And once we have those, you can burn them without making any kind of radioactive waste. But with extra steps means extra places where things can go wrong, which is why we're building the emergency facility first. And this is about half of it. This is an emergency system for dealing with uranium waste, in case there's a problem with step 1. Or in reality, we're just taking a couple little items here and making a small plutonium fuel rod factory, like we already did. And the entire purpose is to get rid of excess uranium waste and sink it. Now we just have to add on a mini Fixonium system to this to handle excess plutonium waste. And we'll figure that out in a little bit. Because step 1 is picking a location for the emergency waste facility. It's somewhere in the world that we will be okay with irradiating potentially forever. Because in a worst case scenario, we have a couple million barrels of uranium waste that could take a minute to process through, making an area horrifically irradiated for a very, very long time. So where are we not going to be operating? Well, in the rocky desert here, we're gonna be working here a lot, probably making fused modular frames and stuff. I don't really want to irradiate the middle of the map because I'm moving and grooving through there a lot. The coast here already has the Starforge. Our main base is located over the pit. We've got factories there. Power plant over here. There's the swamp. But no, we're gonna be bringing all the resources from there, along with pretty much this entire area over into the Dune Desert for some of our final projects. So I guess, the world is just too small, isn't it? Actually, wait, no. Right here. These cliffs right beside the Dune Desert here, and our water tower for our nuclear power plant. It's close enough that we can just belt all of the items we need over across a giant bridge, maybe from directly right here. And if we fill this area with a couple million barrels of waste, well, it's not like we'll be here too often. There's a couple oil nodes underneath these cliffs, and that's about it. So we'll pipe them out for other projects and turn this area into a storage facility. Sounds good? Sure. Small problem is the fact that there's kind of these cliffs like everywhere. What do we do about them? Do we work above? I think we work above. This cliff looks great. And below, you can do a lot of cool stuff around here. It's just not enough space. Like, we're gonna be building quantum encoders all over the place. And they have like a cool laser that goes out through the top of them. So we don't really want to block that. Then we'll need dozens of particle accelerators. And just a couple dozen of those alone will fill up this area. So yeah, no, I guess we go up. And we'll do something wacky just over here. And the best part of a new project means new project whoos. Let's go, Project Whoos. Got a portal, hypertube cannon. We are so good. And we're not gonna be making copper products? Bro, we're in the future. All right, project, emergency, waste, facility. Facility? That's silly. Facility, name pending. Let's just check our planning board here. What are we gonna need? Lots of storage for all of the emergency material, i.e. all the stuff we need to automate plutonium fuel rod production and then the Fixonium fuel rod production, which, wait a second, is a lot of stuff. You know what? We'll think more on that later. For now, let's figure out what we're doing factory-wise around here. Let's also get some power so we don't have to peasant trot. It's gross. There's dirt on the ground. Animals poop there. Not a fan. And poor Project Who's doesn't have any power, which means no portals. Wait, portals. We have to relink our portal. Sorry, quick detour. Where's our existing Project Who's portal go? Oh, over here with the Hellspires. Oh, that makes sense. But don't ding do. You are scooting over here now, Billy. Consume your cells. And let's get this party started. Much better. Now we can use our hover pack, fly around a bit, and figure out the factory design. And I feel like because we have this crazy terrain here, we should do something that involves both the top of this, like, mesa, and this subterranean area. Ooh, like maybe we could put like a bunch of storage down here for the millions of barrels of waste, and then the main factory up above, or maybe a little bit of both. Yeah. And then aesthetically, we're going back to Kib's classic brutalist designs, because I don't want to spend 3 weeks working with screens again. No, instead, we're gonna be belting everything via this road here. And then since we're working above and below this plateau-y thing, let's build like a vertical item distribution lane. So everything hits here, then we close it in like so, and then wherever we need items, they can either exit through the left or the right and go to their designated zones or storages, whatever. And finally, we just pave on top of here until we end up with a beautiful concrete slab. Has a little bit of a terrain feature, but what are you gonna do? So we'll put all of our particle accelerators, quantum encoders, and all that jazz on here. Then up front, well, since we have that main logistics lane going straight down the middle, and we're gonna have that tower, well, it gave me something to work off of. So on the left, we're gonna have like a windowed area, kind of wrapping around the main tower. Off to the left, a bit of a smaller cube, probably for some blenders. And then off to the right, it'll be a bit taller, and I was thinking we'd put a bunch of backup batteries there, because this is an emergency facility, right? odds are we're not gonna have very consistent power if the nuclear power plant is kind of on the fritz. So having as many batteries as possible is mission critical. We'll have some storages down there, maybe some storage down here. And because we have all these water features around, I'm considering mixing them in with the design, but they're a little finicky. So we'll see how that goes. But all right, now that we have the basics here set up, we need to actually figure out what we're doing. So back in our diorama world, PastKibitz was thinking of something. There's a reason why he built all of this, and I think it's because I'm using different recipes. So instead of using like the most efficient recipes in the game for power, here we're just getting rid of waste, right? So we're gonna be using this alternate, fertile uranium, that takes uranium, waste, and acids to make the non-fissile stuff. And we'll just have stockpiles of all these resources. Then, once we have the non-fissile stuff, we're gonna be making these plutonium pellets, which takes the non-fissile and more uranium waste to make the pellets, which are then encased in concrete, and then used with pressure conversion cubes to make plutonium fuel rods, which we will then sink. But now I'm wondering, is there any alternates for Fixonium, or is this kind of what we're in for? So for Fixonium here, it's a Fixonium, control rods, trigons, and excited photonic matter. This stuff is literally just made out of power, so that's a freebie. Trigons are accounted for, because they're really just a couple constructors. You take SAM, I think you reanimate it? Oh yeah, and then you have to put it into one of these doohickeys, a converter. But yes, you combine the SAM with an ingot of some sort to make the Fixite ingot, and then those Fixite ingots become the trigons. So really like 3 machines. Again, nothing too complicated. But there's no alternates for this. That's all we got. And we have a byproduct. Earlier in the system, do we need any dark matter residue? Oh, yes we do. For Fixonium itself. This again is the only recipe, right? Yep. Takes the waste, singularity cells, and then residue. So we'll have to loop back dark matter residue from the last stage over to the Fixonium side here, but the ratios are really weird. This needs 200 dark matter residue, and this, without overclocking or anything, makes 50. So it's 4 of these to get rid of the residue, but then the Fixonium numbers don't match, so like, that's annoying. You know what I think we'll have to do then, is we're actually gonna have to have a separate system using up excess dark matter stuff with this other alternate recipe, dark matter crystallization. Takes residue, makes it into crystals, that's it. So we'll feed some of the residue that overflows from this part over into the Fixonium side, and if there's any extra, we'll burn it into dark matter crystals and send those to an awesome sink. Okay, and I guess we're just gonna have to follow each of these steps. There really isn't too much else we can do here. Ooh, wait a second. Dark matter crystals are needed for singularity cells? Oh, okay. So then we can feed those dark matter crystals back into this maybe? Well, I think that's what we'll do with our main power plant. For the emergency system, yeah, we'll probably just do some sort of overflow again. And we just need so much iron plate and concrete storage, it's gonna be insane. That's pretty much the whole 9 yards then. The rest of this we don't need to concern ourselves with just yet. This is for the main power plant. So let's just set up a little bit of a diorama here. We'll have the Fixonium fuel rods and run those into the awesome sink. The excited photonic matter is a freebie, so we'll just pipe that in, no questions asked. But then for stuff like the control rods and the trigons, I don't want to produce them in our emergency system. So what we're gonna do instead is we're going to build an overflow from our main power plant and have a storage at the emergency zone. That's all to say, instead of building machines here, we'll just have 2 belts bringing those items in. The Fixonium, however, we will be making on site because we want to get rid of the excess waste. That's the whole point. That will require da loop. You'd think after nuclear pasta I'd be sick of these things, but no, particle accelerators are my favorite. And for this, of course, we're gonna have the bins of the plutonium waste, the star of the ball. We'll bring in singularity cells from the main factories, are way too crazy for a little factory like this. And the dark matter residue. I think what I'll do is I'll belt over the reanimated SAM, the precious purple lunchboxes, and just convert all of it into the actual dark matter residue on site. or else we just need too many pipes of dark matter residue running around. But because of overflow with the end of the system here, maybe we switch that up. So we'll see. We'll put a pin in that for now. Because the reality here is, that is all we need. Because we're belting in so many materials from our other existing factories, we just need to have 4 extra production lines at the emergency facility, along with all the plutonium stuff, and that will be our emergency plant. Which is, you know what? Pretty easy. Wait, no, almost forgot. One more loop somewhere to deal with the excess dark matter residue. Okay, super easy. So back to Project 2, the plan is properly laid out now. All of the items we need ready and labeled, and I've done a thing. Okay, I've done a thing. I've renamed this emergency waste plant, and then also I did all this. Why? Well, a lot of the machines we're messing around with are huge, and we don't actually have a ton of space. So I was compelled to build the machines in place before connecting or building anything, which was indeed a decision, I guess. So the plan is still the same, where all of the items will come into here, go and be dispersed through this vertical item bus. But then we have our blenders over here. This will be making the non-fissile uranium, not whatever that stuff is. That stuff. Nope, not that stuff. That stuff. That'll be step 1. Once we go all through the blenders, we'll be going into the particle accelerators for the pellets. And from the pellet stage, we go into these big chunk blueprints. It's 24 assemblers stuffed into a Mark II blueprint maker. Not making industrial pipe stuff anymore. I don't think so. We are encasing plutonium cells. And once encased, it goes into another chunk, making our plutonium fuel rods. Now, will we ever possibly run 24 plutonium fuel rod assemblers at once? No. Will we have them built just in case? Oh, you better believe it, bud. It's all about processing capacity. If we have the goods stored up, may as well use them. In between each of these stages, there's gonna be a huge buffer bin, so maybe this stage will be a little bit faster. Maybe we'll have to wait on pressure conversion cubes, who knows? Main thing is, we'll have the capacity to deal with the problems. But that's only problem 1. Problem 2, it's practically a whole separate system with all the Fixonium stuff now. So this is where we're gonna be making the Fixonium itself out of the plutonium waste. We'll have all the other stuff stored and ready to go. We'll make some dark matter residue and excited photonic matter through these converters. And then from here, everything goes up and into the quantum encoders, where we make all of our Fixonium fuel rods. These will have those big lasers coming out the top, right? So I wanted these to be on the roof. And this is why I have everything being all floaty, naughty, which definitely was a play. Oh, but I did this on a live stream and I was told a mission critical piece of information. You cannot dump Fixonium fuel rods in an awesome sink. Uranium, send to the abyss. Plutonium, away. Fixonium, you have to use this in nuclear power plants. Which I guess is fine. But with all these big machines, it was a bit of a struggle to get nuclear power plants built into here. But I managed, I think. And I think we'll just have them just sitting right here. We don't need a lot of them. We can always store the fuel rods just in a bunch of bins somewhere. Just we're gonna have to now get some water pipes up to here as well. Also, while building all this, I realized we're gonna have a water byproduct, which is a little spooky. Similar to the dark matter residue, we cannot have things build up or the entire system will explode. So the water has to be dealt with. Now we're not gonna be sending it to the power plants. We just wanna get rid of it immediately. So we're gonna be using the old classic water dumping method. Oh gosh, the nightmare's over, Kibitz. It's okay, no more copper. No, wet concrete. Because we can replenish our concrete stockpiles and also get rid of excess water. It's my perfect little water dumpster. Takes a sip, takes a resource that we have plenty of, and makes it something we can send to the awesome sink. Right, that is the whole plan. We'll have to throw in like 100 different bins somewhere, but you know what? Future Kibs got that, right? Yep, totally, for real. Next stage is, though, I just want to redesign a little bit of stuff going on down here. I was thinking of bringing this to the ground, but I feel like this isn't it, Chief. And also, so I'm not too mean to future Kibs. We're also gonna collect up all the oil and water we need. You're welcome, future Kibs. What a nice guy. All the oil ready to go, and all of the sip has been sent. The area's being a little redesigned. Initially, I was thinking of using this water spout for something, anything, but I don't know, man. It just wasn't working out too well. I'll keep thinking about it. Main thing is we have everything we need from down here. There's only 600 crude oil down here, though, so we'll send that pipe somewhere when we have a need for it, and for now it will sit pretty. The sip goes all throughout and up to just some storage bouffars for the time being. We'll connect them up to the nuclear power plants once we have everything else kind of figured out. And oh man, there is still so much to figure out. The worst part of the whole project, and that is wrangling all the resources from the main power plant itself. And you know, past Kibs did have this all prepared, like we have all of the emergency lines right here ready to go for most of the items we need. There's extra waste lines that are exiting to these temporary bins for now. But what I didn't really think about, like at all, is how we're gonna bring like 8 belts and 2 pipes through all of this stuff to way over there. Yeah, it's a little busy around these parts, eh? So it will be a bit of a journey figuring all of this out. Where can we go? Can we use this belt highway? No, there's a bunch of stuff already over it. There's walkways I already have built. There's pipes everywhere, trains. Bit of space here, bit of space there. Okay, that might be useful. But wait a second, we're using this power line lane for all of the belt work. So if we just follow this, we could be okay. It gets a little crazy at this corner. Yeah, let's start from here and work our way to the control center. We'll go over top of all this, build a giant item elevator underneath. Yes, over here actually. Once we go down to here, we'll scoot by the train track, and then we're at the raid boss. Or are we? What if we just went to here, to there, and a little bit of uppies? Scoot just over top of all the pipes. How are we looking? Scoot down here to there. It's a little busy, eh? Also, there's gonna be so many belts and pipes. I think this is too low. Oh my gosh. Plus, we have to get all of the belts out of here. It's 2,520 uranium waste per minute. It's gonna be hundreds of plutonium waste per minute. So that's at least 3-4 belts. Plus everything else. No, it's because of this path. Can I move this path somewhere else? It's kind of baked in. Well, wait a second. What if instead of going this way, we go around this way? Huh? Okay, that's really easy. Barely an inconvenience. But you know what? I kind of like this. I kind of like having this belt go over this way as well. We can see it better. Then we scoot back this way, and we're done. Yeah? Well, I have this blueprint, and I'll have everything we need on it. Oh, and it doesn't fit here. Dang it. The deal is, we're gonna have a variety of items going through here, right? But I want the waste barrels on the top row. But if the waste barrel's on the top row here, they're gonna clip into this path. Do I mess with this little walkway? Does this walkway have to be here? It's kind of at the same level as over there. Past Kibitz, why did you have to make this entire nuclear power plant so complicated, buddy? Reason why we do everything the way we do. Rule of cool. Yeah, true. Rule of cool does conquer all. And the belt going forward did look really cool. I want to see the waste barrels, okay? Like from this view, seeing all the waste scooting around, dude, that'll be awesome. Well, no, it won't be awesome because there'll never be waste barrels there because we'll never have an emergency. This plant's gonna work fine. All the time, forever. Yes, main thing is, got all of the belts through all of the chaos, got the acids as well, and the waste belts are ready to hook up. Everything kind of scoots on around by those train tracks before, up and over, and then to the emergency plant, along with the red power line. You see, the control room is actually for some controls, not only for rule of cool stuff. We have these main power switches to control each part of the power plant. So if we flip this one, all the uranium processing turns off immediately. Same deal with plutonium. The entire plant from the grid can be separated. Fixonium will be the same way. And then the red line is for emergencies. I've already connected it up to some batteries, but now it can be hooked up to our emergency processing plant as well. I really gotta fill this room with more signs though so I can see what's happening. But we'll get to that later. Power cable is all set up and ready to go. Organized through here, scoots through all this stuff, and then goes through this area and follows the red line. Not to be confused with turbo fuel at all, right, future kibs? Right. When doing this belt work, I realized there is still one more, it's like a little-ish problem. I actually don't have any limestone. Of all the things, I don't have limestone. And we have to have limestone to get rid of excess water from the non-fissile uranium stuff. And the only places we have limestone are, well, one place is over the cliff here, and the other is way over there, beyond our great pipework areas and in the ravine. Fortunately, we have lots of infrastructure, so I just found some limestone nodes. We have 300 per minute there. Scooted those under the train track, combined it with a normal node that was just sitting pretty up here. So that's 900 limestone per minute, all explicitly for our emergency processing plant. And man, oh man, did I already think getting the emergency materials was hard. Getting another belt just through all of this was like, whoa. Bit of a whole thing. But the complexity adds to the fun, am I right? As all that limestone goes back to our control center, goes into an emergency storage area where I'm storing a bunch of pressure conversion cubes and the like, just over here. And we also have a bunch of concrete as well. So whenever there is an emergency, we have the goods on deck. And once it runs through there, goes back out through the back here and onto the belt work we just set up, along with a bunch of uranium and other goods, like our electromagnetic control rods, which we have a huge extra supply of because we're already producing everything we need for our proper power plant stuff. And that is all the goods we can bring over for the time being. We'll actually have to have our proper Fixonium set up before we can get the other goods. And I think we'll have to finish up this project next time. So until then, remember to leave a like and subscribe for more. And for now, have a fantastic rest of your day, and bye-bye.